everybody, welcome to Review a Day, episode number 68 for Sunday, October the 19th, 2008. Hello everybody, welcome to Review a Day, the daily video blog where I review a movie 7 days a week. My name is Leland Brunger and thank you very much for joining me. The film I'm going to be reviewing today is Richard Attenborough's Chaplin. This film stars Robert Downey Jr., Kevin Kline, Moira Kelly, and Paul Reese. Lots of people in this cast. David Duchovny has a really small part as a camera operator, very young. I think it was pre-X-Files or around the time, I believe, 92, somewhere in there. This movie chronicles the life and times of silent film and some talkies icon Charlie Chaplin. The English film star. He had an interesting life, and this film chronicles from his humble beginnings, from kind of living on not the streets, but taking care of his sick mother, all the way to him moving to Hollywood, the early Hollywood days. I love this scene where they pull up to on La Brea in LA, and he buys Chaplin Studios, and then it shows like 50 years later in the 70s when he receives the honorary Oscar, which is where the film kind of ends. Chaplin's heart is in the right place. I get it. Robert Downey Jr. does such a phenomenal job in this film, mimicking Chaplin and getting the spirit of him. I love in this film when Robert Downey Jr. kind of snaps into that Chaplin mode that we all know Chaplin for, The Tramp, and he does such a good job, and I think if for no other reason, this film tributes Chaplin because of Robert Downey Jr. I think he's the reason this film succeeds on levels. Kind of getting ahead of myself there. However, the rest of the movie is kind of crappy. It's really not a good movie. I mean, I don't know, maybe if I had seen this movie in '92, I might feel differently about it, but now I watch it, and it is just by numbers biopic Oscar bait. It is just, I feel like this movie was made for people to be nominated for Oscars. And Richard Attenborough also directed Gandhi, which I think is the same case that I could make for Gandhi, I could make for Chaplin. If you've seen this movie, if you've seen these biopics, which we have seen a bunch of them in the past couple of years, Ray, Walk the Line, there was another one I was thinking of, can't think of it, gonna move on. But you've seen them all. You have seen most of these. The dialogue throughout this film sometimes is pretty painful. There's some scenes between Chaplin and his older brother Sidney that are just like, well, this is the way the business works, kid, and it's some of the dialogue is bad and cliche, and it's really hard to swallow. It's interesting because this is a film about Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin is known for his films, and this film includes hardly nothing about what makes Chaplin so great. In the early parts of the film, you see Chaplin doing his slapstick in vaudeville, but after that, it takes such a turn to focus on his social life, which is interesting. But they hardly show any Chaplin video, like any Chaplin's films. They reference like in an offhand moment, and they show them filming the Gold Rush, and like that's such a quintessential Chaplin film. It's like you should have talked about that, because that's what we love about Chaplin. What makes him so interesting was those films he made, and just to have it throw away on the side like that to me was such a disservice, because I think it would have been so much stronger had they focused on that. The film ended, and I was like, that was a good movie, but then I was like, but the reason is because at the end of this film, Robert Downey Jr. As Chaplin is accepting the honorary Oscar, and they're showing the montage, the medley or whatever, montage, of all these classic Chaplin clips. And there is more inspiration and fun in those 10 minutes of just showing clips from Chaplin's movies. There's more fun in that 10 minutes than in the rest of this Chaplin film itself, which I think says a lot about it. There's a line that basically sums up everything, how I feel about this film, and Robert Downey Jr. gives it in the movies, and he's talking to someone, and he says, if you want to understand me, watch my films. And I was like, exactly, that is exactly how I feel about this movie. I mean, I wish I could love this movie because It's something I eat up. Hollywood, you know, the early beginnings of Hollywood. I love this kind of stuff. But ultimately, I give this movie a 2 out of 5. I think the heart's in the right place, but it does not come together. Over this, I recommend going on Amazon and buying some old Charlie Chaplin DVDs. You can get like 60 movies of his for like $10, $20. There's so many great films. Even his early work, it's all classic and all fantastic, so Chaplin's great. If you guys are liking my reviews, make sure and subscribe. If you have any recommendations on any films you'd like to see me review, leave them in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow.